Hey, how's it going everyone? It's me, it's Count Jinsula, and welcome to another Pokemon GO video. Today we're going to be doing a deep dive on the Therian form of Landorus. This is one of the most powerful ground-type Pokemon that are currently in the game, and you do not want to ignore it. You can get this Pokemon from raid battles, and I have to say it is one of the top Pokemon in Pokemon GO, and I'm going to be giving you the reasons why. So yeah, with that said, let's roll the intro and jump right into it. Alrighty, so let's deep dive into Therian form Landorus. So, this Pokemon is one of the most powerful ground types that are currently in the game, and the reason for that is of course because it has a ridiculously high attack stat. You're going to want to use this Pokemon in raid battles where the raid boss is weak against ground types, and that is because this Pokemon deals some of the highest damage output compared to all of the other non-mega ground types. It is even more powerful than Groudon, which has been the king of ground types for a very long time, so if you want to dominate raid battles that are weak against ground types, then you definitely want to get yourself a full team of this Pokemon. So let's talk about just how powerful of a raid attacker this Pokemon is. So, first of all, in terms of its base stats, it has an attack stat of 289, a defense stat of 179, and stamina of 205. At max level of level 50, it's going to be 4434 for its CP. Therian form Landorus is going to be a flying and ground type Pokemon, and of course, it's the ground typing that makes it really special. No matter what, you will find use for this Pokemon, and it is technically future-proof as well. There are very few Pokemon that could be comparable to Therian form Landorus in terms of ground-type damage, and that is of course because Landorus has an attack stat that is higher than most Pokemon. Of course, don't be confused because there are two forms of Landorus. Therian form is going to be far superior to incarnate form, so that's something you should keep in mind. Now, real quick, let's go over the moveset of this Pokemon. So first and foremost, in terms of its fast attacks, it could come with either Mud Shot or Extra Sensory. Both of these moves are really powerful, but of course, Mud Shot does benefit from Stab, and it does have extremely high energy generation. So you will want to go with Mud Shot over Extra Sensory. Even though Extra Sensory does a little bit more base damage, you will still benefit a lot more from Mud Shot. Now, in terms of its charge attacks, it can come with either Earthquake, Bulldoze, Stone Edge, and Superpower. Earthquake and Bulldoze are of course its very powerful ground type attacks, but between the two, you will want to go with Earthquake because of the insane amount of damage this move deals. And then of course, if you want a little bit of type coverage, you can go with either Stone Edge or Superpower, but if you are looking for type coverage, then more than likely you will want to go with Superpower, considering that fighting types are going to be really strong against certain Pokemon that counter this Pokemon. In terms of its most ideal moveset, which is of course going to be Mud Shot and Earthquake, it deals a DPS of about 15.55. Just to put things into perspective, a Groudon with its highest damage dealing moveset of Dragon Tail and Earthquake is only going to deal a DPS of 14.36. Of course, in terms of neutral damage, there's always going to be much better Pokemon, but this is by far going to be your best Pokemon if you're in need of ground type damage. Now, I mentioned earlier that this Pokemon does excel the most in raid battles, but it does have some potential in the Master League. That is of course because of its flying and ground type combination, which is going to be resistant to a lot of different types. For example, it's going to be resistant to bug types, electric types, fighting types, ground types, and poison types. A lot of these are actually pretty common in the Master League, so this is going to be a very good Pokemon to use in a lot of different situations. However, you will want to be careful because Landorus is going to have double vulnerability to ice types, which means that if you are going up against a Mamoswine, you are pretty much going to lose out in that matchup, even if you have both shields. But of course, even in the Master League, there are much better options for ground types, like for example Groudon. So I highly suggest you focus in on just raid battles when it comes to this Pokemon, because it just deals so much damage in raid battles that you do want to invest into it. Overall, I have to say this is one of the most powerful Pokemon that you can have in your collection. It's not just with raid battles that are weak against ground types where this Pokemon excels, because it has really high attack stats that are comparable to a Pokemon like, let's say, Rayquaza. This is still a Pokemon that's going to be useful in a lot of different circumstances. So, I highly suggest you invest in a Therian form Landorus. It's definitely going to help you out in a lot of different places in Pokemon GO, and it's also one of the cooler looking legendaries that are currently in the game, so that is a huge plus. And of course, because it is a ground type, it is going to benefit from sunny weather in terms of additional damage, so that is also something you could keep in mind because sunny weather boosts are pretty common in Pokemon GO. So yeah, just to recap, this is one of the top raid attackers that you can have, especially if you're going up against bosses that are weak against ground types. And in terms of PvP, it's only going to be significant in the Master League, in which it is still going to be outclassed by other Pokemon. So I highly suggest you do not even bother trying to bring it into the Go Battle League, because in terms of the Ultra League, it's going to be extremely weak. And of course, in the Great League, it's not even going to qualify because the lowest catch CP of this Pokemon is going to be way over 1500. But honestly, raid battles is where this Pokemon shines the most, so it's definitely worth investing into, especially if you are in need of a really good ground type. And yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for this deep dive. I really hope you found it to be helpful. If you did, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if it's your first time here. And don't forget that little bell so you stay up to date on whenever I upload videos. And I want to give a quick shout out to my patrons on Patreon. You make this channel content possible. If you want to support this channel in any way, then do consider checking out the links in the description below. But yeah, that's going to be it. I'm Count Jinsula. Be safe, have fun, love yourself, and I'll catch you all later.